Alright, so we'll let the video roll for a little bit and then you can just cut it at some point, right?
Okay.
Alright. Okay, we're on in 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the Set Apart Meta, where we discuss the monthly meta of STOA and its competitors. I'm joined by my co-host, Shane Charlemagne Felis.
Thanks for being here.
And I'm Aiden Staples May. Welcome to the show. We're back. Episode 2.
We're back again.
Exactly. We're doing it a little bit earlier than we had said we were. Because we were planning on filming these at the end of every month. And then we realized that the Stoabyte newsletter, among other things, come out at the start of the month. And we thought it would be better for us to cover that kind of content earlier in the month rather than later. So I think what we've decided is we're going to start doing it either the first week or the second week of every month. We will have a confirmation for that before next episode. You guys will know. But just so that you guys know where we're at, we are hopefully filming a lot earlier in the month. Also, uploading an hour-long video to YouTube takes some time. It turns out.
Does.
we had said we were gonna launch the last one on
a Friday,
and then it ended up being Saturday night because of
complications.
Exactly, internet issues. So we are back. We've got a new microphone right here. Shane's trusty little buddy here. It has a name. I forgot.
The name is Toner. That's literally the name.
That's the name of it. And then we plan on fixing camera quality before the next episode as well. So I think we're going to be at 30 frames for this episode, but hopefully the mic sounds better. So yeah, with that out of the way, what have you done this week?
We have a ton of stuff to talk about.
That's true.
This week,
what's up? What's going on?
I have been doing some writing. Thinking about different, I'm interested
writing or writing?
Screenwriting.
Screenwriting. I thought you said writing, and I'm like...
Yeah, I've been writing.
It's a good time for that.
Gruesome is just...
It's a good time for it, but...
Anyway.
Very nice. Got some projects.
And hanging out with the fam, got my dog that I've been walking in the desert, so we've been having a great time.
It's a nice cool temperature for that.
Surviving in this...
122 degrees,
and
ladies and gentlemen.
The weird thing about it is that really we've had this type of heat, this spike of heat in previous years, just my entire life growing up here, past 14 years. However, this year has been so consistent. It's been the most I've ever been here, meaning every other week, every month for the past 3 months has been... 112, 116, then it gets up to 119. It's going to be 119 Sunday again for the 5th time. So it's been crazy.
I'm not looking forward to that. Yeah, thankfully I've been spending all my time inside playing unhealthy amounts of Minecraft and a little bit of Valorant. But other than that, I was literally just waiting until we could film episode 2. I'm anxious. I want to get this filmed,
Yeah.
We've got a lot to talk about because immediately after we uploaded, Stoa launched their newsletter, and holy moly, there's a lot of cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
And some other stuff from the. I just went out of frame for a second. And some other stuff from last month that we did not discuss that we thought would be a good idea to talk about. So buckle up. We're gonna get right rolling if that's all good with you.
Yep.
All right, let's get started. So as I said, the August 2020 Stoabyte. I have that pull up on the screen for us here. So they basically, there's a lot of things in here, and I recommend you check that out. stoausa.org/August2020 Stoabyte. It's a big one because it talks about, they kind of lay out their plan for what they're going to do in regards to NIHD, how they're going to treat online tournaments, and so I think we're going to get into that. A couple new board members were added, so
congratulations. Mr. Jeff Eschen and Mrs. Linda Sloniker.
Congratulations.
Amazing job. Shout out to them. I voted for them. I'm just kidding.
Do you know them personally?
No, I don't know them personally.
Have you seen them personally?
Talked to them. I've talked to people who may or may not.
I think you're out of focus.
know of
as your brain trails off, the camera puts you out of focus. Right.
Shane slowly descends into the despair of delusionment. I don't even think that's a word. Disillusionment.
The 2020 Stoa Academy, I don't know what those are, but that's cool. Again, you guys can check out all this information that we're just kind of skimming over, because what we really want to get to is the meat of the Stoa Bite, which is their statement on virtual tournaments. So they go on to say, as the United States and the world face unprecedented and unpredictable circumstances in the midst of the pandemic, the Stoa board has spent a ridiculously long time trying to figure out how they're going to deal with it in regards of legality. Obviously, this board is mostly conservative, and we all know how conservatives feel about the coronavirus on a large scale. So they have some decisions to make. And so after the intro, they say, to that end, we offer the following. The Stoa board fully intends to host Night Talk 2021, which is good news. What's even better news for Shane and I is that it's being held in Concordia University in Irvine, California. That's like what? Maybe it can't be more than 4 hours from here.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours.
That's great.
So
yeah, now I really want Stoa to happen.
If it's happening, I'll be there. I'll be coaching whoever's in LD semifinals. I'll help you out.
Exactly. You could be coaching me if we were in Paladin.
Yeah.
But
we'll talk about Paladin later.
Yeah, that's something for the next half hour.
That right there. Watch out for that. Golden opportunities are coming.
As most of our members know, Night Talk 2021 is currently scheduled to take place in Irvine, California. In the event that Concordia becomes unavailable due to COVID-19, they actually have like a backup facility that they're going to be using.
Oh, really?
Which they have not given us. They refer to it as a secured alternate in-person location.
They're not going to give it to us.
Exactly, which sounds super mysterious. Ooh, I want to know what it is.
Very interesting.
It's gonna be my backyard.
Yeah. It's gonna be my.
I'm just gonna find someone's backyard. Like, hey, we need to host Night Talk somewhere, and it's illegal to host it in a church building. Can we, or a university? So that's a big deal. That's their plan. However,
Night Talk outside. Let's do it.
And they go on to say after that, because there is no way to predict what impact COVID-19 will continue to have, if an in-person Night Talk becomes impossible, the Stoa board will provide a virtual Night Talk. So that's going to be happening. I'm hoping it won't. And we can talk about this in a little bit because they're going to discuss virtual tournaments.
That'd be depression.
I know, but
in its fullest form.
Yeah, we have a full year to work out the kinks, wake up the governments.
However, I will say this: I did do the NVDC tournament at the end of this last season for Stoa, which is the National Virtual Debate Championship, headed on by NIHD camp, which is obviously led by Griff Vertigan. So
yeah, they had some footage actually at NIHD about that.
And it was great. It was really fun. It was a few days, I think, and it was a blast. Going on calls with my friends before and after the rounds. The debate, the actual debate itself, argumentation was good. It was interesting because it was less about the speaking style and presence, although it did have a factor in the actual debate. It wasn't the deciding factor for most of the debates because it was more on the argumentation that you're hearing versus, when you're in a room in live time and a person may have a presence that has an impact on you as a judge. So for me, I thought it was actually good because it would create an atmosphere where the judge would focus more on the actual argumentation versus the speaking style. And while I do think that your persuasiveness and your speaking style is important, it's just my opinion that it would be more beneficial to vote based off of the arguments and the value debate, etc.
And I can see how that would help in certain situations. But I think at the end of the day, it just helps so much more to have people in person because you're quite literally on level ground as opposed to being on two separate cameras where it may not always look that way. And I never competed in a virtual tournament before, so I'm not sure how that would work. I have opinions on it. I don't think it's a good idea. But if it becomes necessary, then it's better than not doing anything.
Better
So
than nothing.
it's good for Stoa to prepare for that, I think, and have a plan, because there was no way they could have had a plan in 2020. Like, it's really awful what happened. But thankfully, they have a plan set in place. They are thinking of incorporating virtual tournaments to qualify for Night Talk. So I have it right here.
Yeah.
In order to ensure the integrity of Night Talk and the quality of competition characteristic of Stoa. Oh, the quality of competition characteristic. Okay, all right. The board will institute a pilot program for virtual tournaments this fall. During the fall of 2020, the board plans to offer a minimum of 2 to 3 virtual Night Talk qualifying tournaments.
Yikes. So you literally have to do virtual, 2 to 3 virtual tournaments, right?
No. I think what that's saying is it's a pilot program. So assuming that we're not allowed to host any IRL tournaments at all,
okay.
then those will be offered if you need to qualify for Night Talk and you can't because of the situations.
All
Which
right.
makes sense. They're doing that this fall where things are still iffy. Like, this isn't like next summer we're going to be hosting these.
So,
like, they're doing
audience,
these now.
you can tell that we don't support virtual tournaments overall.
It's generally not a good idea.
Comment below what your opinion is and some warrants for why that opinion is.
Please, we
you
will
believe is
appreciate
true. And if you do support virtual tournaments, then I will go and delete your Fortnite account.
Please give us your opinion.
If
And
you
your
do
opinion is
support-
incorrect, you may no longer be subscribed.
Yeah, if you support our opinion, I will send you this fedora in the mail, and I will give it to you for your birthday.
You just made a really risky claim. All right, first person to agree with us gets that hat.
First person to comment. So
Exactly.
Actually, we're just gonna randomly select a comment. So the more comments you put, the higher of a chance you're gonna get my fedora.
While we're on the topic of changing it, let's not give away the hat since that's going to cost money to mail.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. But we can solve that because you're gonna Venmo us money, so
Oh my
we'll be
gosh.
able to send it.
Didn't
to
we
you.
go off on this
Or
rant
you
last
give us
episode
the money
on
to
giving us money?
be able to send you a fedora.
I feel like we went on this rant already.
Did we?
Yeah, I feel like we went off on that tangent. Like, give us money now, even though this channel's not monetized.
Give me the money.
We're quite literally doing this out of the back of my house. But it's okay. We love it. We love Stoa.
Yeah.
All right.
We love
So,
money is
virtual tournaments will be interesting to see. Hopefully, we can get enough people to commit civil disobedience that we no longer have to listen to the governor's orders here in California and can just straight up host tournaments like we always have. I know a bunch of churches have already started like throwing out that rule. What was what's his name? John MacArthur. Super guy. I have his Bible like on my shelf right there.
You have his Bible, the one that he reads,
exactly,
the one that he writes in.
Yep. He took his he went to his church on Sunday morning. Everyone was there. He said, "We're disobeying the governor's orders."
Ooh,
And then
we're
I think
breaking
the
the
first
law.
thing out of his mouth was something along the lines of, "Welcome to our church's protest," and that's what they labeled it as, and everyone was okay with it. Well, not really, but it was funny.
Yeah, LA County is threatening him right now.
Yeah.
So.
But it doesn't matter,
Bro,
you know?
just go outside. You literally have 100% better weather than we do here, and my church meets at 7:30 in the morning because it's so hot out here. Outside in the parking lot.
That's crazy.
So literally, just you live in LA. What do you think? You just go outside, enjoy your time.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand.
I have no
he
idea
has
what
a
their
huge
campus
church.
is like.
There's no way he'd be able to have a big enough outdoor space
Right.
for that big of a church and spread out and everything. So I understand why he made that decision.
Right.
I mean, do you believe in Romans 13 or not? That's just what that's just what it comes down to. Do you believe the Bible or not? That's just what it comes down to. I'm just kidding.
I think on one hand, it's like these churches really desperately want to continue worshiping Christ in person as we have for thousands of years. But on the other hand, we don't. I should say hundreds of years, I think. But on the other hand, we don't because we don't want to go against the government. But on the other hand, we do because the government is abusing power. But then that's where the gray line is. That's where the crux of the argument is.
All right,
so,
let's
you know
make this a value debate. So you've got power on one hand. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
So you have freedom, right? You fight for freedom.
Right.
You like the freedom. However, freedom can get out of hand when it overdoses on power.
Right.
So, we have this great country of America, but if we overstress freedom, what happens? Well, the most innocent people, the most innocent lives in our country, millions of them are being killed every day. I mean, not millions every day, but millions over the past, decades.
Right.
Because we have overstressed freedom. Because freedom, while is good when we're trying to get out of oppression, freedom can lead us to oppress others. We use our freedom in an unjust way. So,
you're right. So I think what it's going to come down to for the leaders of tournaments this year, especially here in California, I think it's going to be super easy in Texas, I'm assuming. Like, I don't know how bad, I don't know how bad Idaho has it. I don't know how bad Texas has it. But I think in general, it's going to come down to whether or not tournaments want to host their tournaments in did I say
tournaments want
if tournament hosts want to host their tournaments in buildings that are in compliance or not, or in facilities that are in compliance or not. And so it will come down to them on whether or not they want to pursue civil disobedience in not following the orders.
Also, how are you going to get community judges?
Yeah, that's another thing.
Because,
and you brought this up yesterday. We were talking.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, go on. Explain.
NVDC, the online championship nationals that I competed in, they paid a few of the alumni to judge. And they only had those alumni judge when they didn't have any parents available. Now, if you were a parent of a competitor competing in the tournament, you were required to judge a certain amount of rounds. Now, this didn't mean that you for sure were going to judge, but you at least had to be ready to be judging.
Yeah.
In a bigger, more wide scale, through the season, you have tournaments throughout the year, that's going to be a lot harder to figure out how you're going to get these parents to commit to be open for an online tournament.
Right.
Especially if you're not just doing debate. Like if you're doing speech, that's literally twice as many, not twice as many, 4 times as many per room if you're having, the same 8 people per room versus 2 to 4 debaters in the room.
Not to mention how this is going to affect community judges. Because we're not even talking about speech. We got nothing on that. I don't even know. I don't know where to start. And community judges are obviously a big part of speech, but in debate as well. It's what are you supposed to do? Hey, can you get in front of your computer for a couple hours and judge this thing that you've never seen before? And rather than introduce you to people who are good at it, we're just gonna put you in a video call with them, and you can talk with a bunch of other people for maybe 20 minutes trying to figure out how to judge. And then start judging, but instead of us debaters giving you information in person and it's all sweet and not, you guys are getting a sense of this because we're on the screen right now. This is not super personal, and you can make it personal.
Hi, Mom.
But what happens if a community judge turns off their camera? I think we need community judges as much as we don't like them. In some aspects, they're super important to STOA's scene because they bring in new judges that we have to cater to, and it helps us stay on our toes. And so if we're not keeping that in regard during this next season, I think it's going to have a damaging effect on STOA overall. And so I'm just hoping that we're not relegated to 3 virtual tournaments.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that stuff starts clearing up soon.
It's good to get the community involved
right.
in the debate and to be able to share. I mean, obviously, that's
right.
the whole purpose of it, is to change the world, not just to change our homes. While that is important, it brings a foundation, and then you build off that foundation by giving back. You come full circle, give back to the community.
Right. Yeah. So that was a depressing 20 minutes.
Yeah. I'm sorry that we're, we're kind of,
Don't hit the anchors.
Skeptic. What's the word? We're a little bit skeptical of this virtual tournaments idea.
And I think when it comes to that, I think us and the STOA board are on the same page. We want to hold in persons as much as possible.
Yeah.
And that's just a backup plan. And so again, good on them for keeping that in mind, because it is better than nothing, I think. But
absolutely.
At the same time, if we start prioritizing this really early on, it's going to look bad. So I think they made the right move in that decision. And then the only other really big thing I wanted to talk about in the August Stoa Bite, moving on from virtual tournaments, was their Spotlight on Speech. They gave us some new plagiarism rules for a couple of different speech formats.
New rules?
Yes, which I have pulled up right here.
Speech documents.
Yeah, they gave a little
this plagiarism policy right there.
I hope we don't have to edit this out. There we go. We're back. So, what is plagiarism? Number 1, to steal and pass off ideas or words of another one's own, or of another one's as your own. And 2, to present a new and original idea derived from an existing source. So, plagiarism is that, according to Stoa, or Merriam-Webster.
Merriam-Webster.
And so they're giving 3 different outlines for all formats of speeches, which would be interps, platforms, and limited preps. So you guys can check that out on the August Stoa
Wait,
Bite.
let me see the limited prep really quick.
So limited prep, and in plagiarism, or in terms of plagiarism, using someone's words or ideas without giving credit and limited prep is plagiarism. Stoa presentation rule: use of another person's words or ideas without crediting them to plagiarism, or is plagiarism, and is strictly forbidden. So you got to document your sources.
So does that mean you have to say in a speech, like when you say God loved the world, He gave His Son to die for our sins? That's from the Bible, by the way. It's not my original. Is that what you have to say every time? Or?
I think in general they would let that fly. I think Stoa's always been like that, where they want you to avoid plagiarism as much as possible and quote people, for word and give them their name. But when it comes to the Bible, like, what about the Book of Hebrews? We don't know who the author is. God. As God once said, yes. Like, you have to say that for every word in a speech, is quote every individual word that you want to use.
Why does plagiarism? Why is that?
I don't actually know why they fixed this. I don't know why. Was it a problem?
Was there a new issue with it?
I mean, because we've had new stuff introduced to LD, where they wanted us to have evidence in rounds and such, but this isn't for LD. This is for speech, so that might just be like a refresher.
Now, if truth, I'm just gonna play like a devil's advocate right now. I'm not saying this is exactly what I believe, but if truth is truth, and if you're seeking the reality of your existence, and you're seeking reality, you're seeking truth, fact, and reality, and it's a good thing, and everyone should pursue truth.
Right.
What is the purpose of enforcing plagiarism rules then? Is it just to bring credit to the person who brings up a statement? Right. That if it's credit for people, that's the only reason. Well, then you're saying that you're valuing a person's credit for their deeds or what they wrote or what they worked, versus the actual content and the truth of what it's saying. And if you think about it, I'm just getting a little bit philosophical right now.
Go ahead.
Everything we believe and all the worldviews we see today really are just regurgitated, and they're basically making the same. They're making the same arguments over how many years it's been. So if you're just pursuing truth, then it's not really going to matter whether you have other people's approval or whether you have all the credit or not. And that's why some people publish books and things like that, articles with no name or with a fake name, a pen name. Right. You write what you want for the truth of what you're saying, not for the credit that you're going to receive. Therefore, it's resolved. Plagiarism should not exist in the history of.
I think it's really simple. I think it's especially for younger kids or just lazy competitors. They don't want you stealing somebody's essay from the New York Times and then treating that as your own speech, and then you get away with it because you didn't quote it.
Exactly.
But if you do that and then citate it, then obviously they're gonna realize, hang on, he didn't say anything original. He literally just stole an entire essay and gave that to us as a speech.
It's very important. Also, Aiden just created an original word, citate. Citate is an original new word. We're copyright citate 2020.
And when I say the phrase I'm sure this phrase has been said before. It's been said before. So,
yeah.
But I'm just wondering, like, why is that an issue right now? It's just a refresher. I feel like they needed a little bit of filler content in that Stoa Bite. There's not a lot to talk about since there's nothing going on. But, yeah. So, that concludes Stoa Bite August. And we're going to move on to a couple of pretty interesting things. I think we'll go ahead and start with a couple of changes that Stoa made to Apologetics. And I think this was last
Brace
Stoa
yourselves.
Bite.
Buckle your seats.
This was last Stoa Bite. A lot of you might know about this, but just in case you don't, they basically revamped Apologetics. Like, how did it work in the past? They, like, took half of the questions and then left half.
Well, here's the first difference is that they reduced the number of questions. They combined questions and fused them, forged something into something completely new, which it's not really new. It's basically the same ideas behind the questions. They may be worded differently. A lot of them are the same, but they reduced it from 100 to 84, and the categories are titled completely differently. Right, so you've got category 1 is now the character and nature of God. Category 2 is the foundations of Christianity. Category 3 is scripture. Category 4 is God and man. Category 5 is a Christian worldview application. And category 6 is Christianity compared. Now, do I agree 100% with all of those titles and the nuances that come along with that? Not necessarily. But do I believe that this is something that's bad? No, I don't think it's bad that they're trying to improve apologetics. It's obviously something that's good. I think a lot of the questions are really good. Like, for example, one question right here. Respond to Dwight L. Moody's quote, "Church attendance is as vital to a disciple as a transfusion of rich, healthy blood to a sick man." That's a really good topic to talk about. And I don't think we should shy away from topics that maybe Christians might disagree on, like this one maybe, because I might know some Christians who don't go to church or don't go as often as other people.
Right.
And there's so many differences in denominations as to how many per week do you have a service, whatever. There's so many things you could talk about. So it's a good area to talk about. And I like, there's a lot of other questions.
Right.
That aren't the same. There are different ones like on marriage, intolerance. Obviously, there's a ton of them. But it's great that they're trying to improve it. However, Aiden here is going to explain some of the hesitations we have with it.
Right. So, the thing is, like, apologetics is already such a scary speech category for competitors because a lot of clubs require it manually. And so it's like, okay, I'm stuck with this. I can't choose to... And I know a lot of competitors just kind of skim by on apologetics, but now the way that the questions are phrased, at least to me, it seems like you have to do research on some of these. Like, I was looking at category 6, and down here you got a question along the lines of compare the Hindu view of the nature of man with the Christian view of the nature of man. What's the Hindu view of the nature of man? I don't know any Hindus.
Man
so now,
is basically good.
Right. So now I have to go look up this stuff. And there was a lot of that last year, but there's fewer questions now. So it's like you can't skate by like, oh, maybe I won't pull 3 tabs that all require me to like know original things that I can't just recite from my head. Like a lot of these aren't difficult. Like I'm sure category 1's not difficult. Like, what is the meaning that God is omnipresent? Why is this important? So, like, the first part of that question, you just answer it. Like, it means that he's present everywhere. And then why is that important? And then that's where the meat of it is.
Yeah.
But then you've got other questions that are a little difficult. You know, like other religions. Like, you have to, like, study category 6 and you have to study category 5. And so I think that's kind of good because it causes people to, like, okay, I want to pursue... more. This is good. Like, we're learning from this as students. But when it comes to like presenting it to judges, I feel like it's not going to work.
Here's my issue with
as
it.
Well. Yeah.
I think you pretty much had to study as much last year as you did this year as if you wanted to be good. But I think it's not helping anyone really to change the category titles. I might be wrong, but I didn't ever encounter anyone last year complaining about apologetics, that it was, formatted incorrectly or unhelpful in the way it was worded.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. I enjoyed the contrast of the categories. They're separated in their different ways. Now, it's like every kind of category kind of overlaps. Like, Category 2 is the foundations of Christianity, but how is the nature of God and Scripture not part of the foundations of Christianity? Like, I can understand
it's a little
foundations
strange.
are talking about, the topics like grace, forgiveness, redemption, but I don't know. Maybe they might have wanted to just keep it the same, because not only does that change the placement of all the questions, but it also changes the wording of the questions, which means if I've printed out 100 questions in their separate categories that are specifically different categories, and I spend money on it, right? We're not spending just our writing. We actually use ink.
Sure.
It might have an impact on some of the families who have lots of kids, which, let's face it, there are lots of kids in the families of Stoa.
And it's tough because a lot of people had the idea that you could just pass down apologetics cards and they'll be of some use to the next people.
You can't, no.
Right.
My sisters, I can't understand the hooks.
I'm like, what do you mean? Yes, I can read.
What does this say? You like,
yeah.
there's like one that says doodle or something. What is that? What am I supposed to say?
But you can always research, like you can not necessarily take them to the tournament, but okay, thanks, big bro. I'm gonna read your cards, and then I'm gonna take some of the cool research you found and import this into this.
Do it
and
yourself.
Now it's gonna be a little bit different.
Or shout out to Wagner, the older one. I'm not gonna say his first name because I'm not gonna name any names, but Benjamin Wagner. Who was
said his name last episode.
He really pioneered for me. He pioneered. Okay, well, let me say this. Ethan Blount was always known for doing apologetics without a card, and he would know the cards and cross apply the questions.
Right.
He did it without a box. Benjamin Wagner didn't even have cards in his mind. He didn't memorize the cards like Ethan did. Benjamin Wagner did it by memorizing scripture and then building the card during prep time in his mind. So for me, that was really inspiring. That inspired me to try that for a period of my career in Stoa, and I switched back and forth. With a box, without a box, just because, you work hard in your box and you have content, evidence, research that you've done, so you want to bring that in, but it's also helpful if you want to save money, live better, Walmart, to not print out cards and just give what you have in your heart.
Right. Yeah, interesting takes for sure. So be sure to go check out that information. I believe that was last month's show, but I could be wrong.
Check out Benjamin Wagner's Twitter account, Benjamin Wagner at Twitter.com.
I don't think that's how Twitter works. Speaking of which, we have an announcement to make on about social media.
Yes, Aiden has a new Twitter account.
No, something like that. We will get to that at the end. I haven't actually talked to him about this, I don't think.
Okay.
But we will propose this at the end of the episode and see what you guys think. And so I think the last big chunky thing that Shane pointed out to me this morning,
chunky.
And he found. When did you find out about this?
So my mom was telling
On
me
the way here?
on the way here, and I didn't even know about this. Joseph Abel, the man, the myth, the legend, is now launching Paladin, which is a completely new, self-launched debate league.
Yeah.
It's a brand new league.
So
and
essentially
it's online only.
Essentially a competitor to Stoa. And we thought it would be a cool
little
tangent we can go off of and discuss
Yeah.
how this is going to work and whether or not you should jump ship. No, I'm just kidding.
No, at first I thought about it and I thought, is this kind of trying to take away people from Stoa? It's not, and I'll tell you why. Because it's actually really smart. He is removing the limitations that is placed on Stoa, the homeschool and Christian only. Now it's open to all high school students, regardless of your school, state, nationality, religion, affiliation.
Shane, wait, did I hear you say high schoolers and not 11-year-olds competing against 19-year-olds? I just thought of that. I just know, like, hey, I don't like competing against children. And
Never mind. It's actually not high schoolers only. It's 12 through 18.
Is it?
It's 12 through 18.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was right. It's not.
Okay.
It's not 11 and 19-year-olds. It's 12 and 18.
No more
it's
super seniors. No, it's only 12 to 18. They haven't graduated high school more than a year ago.
And you are welcome, regardless of affiliation with another league. So you can stay in, what's the other one besides Stoa? And something.
NCFCA.
Yeah, the long one. That doesn't have an abbreviation. Or anything else about you. If you're 12 and 18 years old and haven't graduated high school more than a year ago, wait, yes, there is super seniors.
So I'm actually really stoked, and I'll tell you why. Because, number one,
I just realized we did that at the same time.
It's open to all people.
Right.
Whether you're 90 years old or whether you're 2 years old,
it's not. We just went over this.
You can compete.
So the age limitations are different.
Number two, the purpose is online only. It's not trying to be Stoa. It's not trying to fit this live, half online, half.
Yeah, they're not trying to merge. They're dedicated online.
Which means that they're trying. This is smart. They're creating a domain that is not available because this is a completely new society we're in. This is time to be online, time to do things online. So for this to come out is really smart. Also, some of the things that are different from previous debate leagues that we may be familiar with is you can research mid-round. You can literally Google my opponent's application and find some dirt on it from gossip.com, www.gossip.com.org. And you can do this because this debate league actually focuses on the argumentation itself, and it doesn't want surprise cases. It doesn't want to go into a round and then be like, oh, I have no evidence on this. Boom, you lose. Right. No, this is based on the argumentation itself, not on any of the other fluff that we don't care about that doesn't contribute to debate.
Right.
And also, you can bring up the next difference that it is.
Right, and there's a lot of these, and again, we'll leave a link in the description to the website and discussing it. But they've got a couple of really big changes. Number one that really stood out to Shane and I is that there are no speaker points in Paladin League. So judges now have to make exactly one choice, which is affirmative or negative. Speaker points are completely removed, which is interesting. I mean, that definitely helps the judge. Like, they don't have to sit there and fill out little bubbles. That's helpful for us, but it's not helpful for the judge. And I don't think they're going to be as important in an online league anyways. So that makes a lot of sense, just to kind of obscure that, like, and just focus on argumentation. Since none of us are on the same level ground anyways, like, we're all on the internet.
I'm hyped about that.
Different bandwidth. So that makes sense.
The more you can focus on the argumentation that's being presented, the better. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to focus on whether this guy has a better, presence in the room, like if they have a better, you're born with a nicer voice, so I'm going to give you 30 speaker points, and you're not going to be focused on the actual argumentation, right? That's not going to be beneficial to actually learning, to actually, actually thinking about the argument. So I love that because I think it's great that we're kind of simplifying. Because this is so different, we're just simplifying it for the judge.
Right.
And as a judge, I can imagine there's so many things swirling around that you must be thinking about. This just makes it so much easier not to have to think about all of those numbers circling, which, cross-examination, this, it just matters about the vote, at the end of the day.
Right.
The W or the L.
Exactly. And there's a couple of other interesting things. What we'll talk about is there's 8 preliminary rounds in most of their tournaments. which makes sense. I mean, since A, judges aren't going to be spending all their time on speaker points trying to decide, and B, it's online, so we'll have the information quite a bit faster. You don't have to walk halfway across a university campus to get a ballot anymore. So most Paladin tournaments, or Paladin, I say Paladin, I've never stopped saying that.
Paladin.
Have 8 preliminary rounds, then break to high-level single elimination out rounds. That gives you more chances to practice speaking, regardless of your skill level, and it means a great prelim record will have a bigger impact on your success, which is nice.
That's true. That is really interesting. Now that I think about that,
right?
Because if you go 3-3 the first 3 rounds, I don't know how it works breaking, but if it were in Stoa, you go 3-3 at a regular tournament, you don't break.
Right.
Generally.
Yeah.
Now, if you win the next 2, or you go 5-3, right? You would break, I would think. I don't know how it all works, but that would give you just more chances to redeem yourself. More
chances, which I think is what it's about. And there's a couple of other more technical things, like they have a persistent raking system. They have mid-run research we discussed. Outside help.
Outside help. This is also.
So let me read this for you guys. Getting help from a parent, friend, or coach during the round is allowed. However, we discourage it.
If you have had more than a few tournaments of experience. Now, if you're an experienced debater, you're not gonna be asking your mom, okay, what do I say? But for the new debaters who have no idea, they're jumping in.
Yeah.
Who they need to be encouraged and supported for jumping in as a novice debater.
Right.
They can get help from their coach. They can ask their coach, who might be sitting by them, or text them, whatever, to help them say, what do I say, Because there's obviously going to be times where you have no idea what to say, and you need a little encouragement or a word that will spur something in you that will give you arguments.
Which makes sense.
As a new debater. So that's absolutely a smart move for this league.
Right.
And I can understand why they would discourage it for experienced debaters, because you're as an experienced debater, you're trying to write down as fast as you can because it's in your head.
Although it's not barred, so you could have Dylan Jacobs, Adrian King, and Ethan Blount in the same room coaching you as an 18-year-old who's done Stoa for 4 years, jumping into this.
That would be just don't do that. That'd be dumb. You're dumb.
At that point, they'd probably step in.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a couple of other interesting things.
Mavericks. This. Okay, I just love this. I'm excited because these are all things that we've talked about in Stoa for as long as I can remember. People have been like, well, what if we do this? Why can't we just do this? I mean, I'm excited just thinking about this, that you can Maverick TP. You can literally do the round by yourself, which means your teammate, you can be like, okay, bro, just say that you're sick or something. Just I can't keep carrying you right now. I just need to do
If your partner doesn't
my
show
back
up.
is hurting from carrying you so hard right
gosh.
now. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to Maverick it.
If your partner doesn't show up or you can't find one, you can do team policy by yourself. Who goes to a team policy tournament without a partner? Does anyone do that?
No, you can't. You'd have to. You could debate. They'd probably let you do the debate, but you get an automatic loss.
What the heck?
So
that doesn't make sense. Well, hey, now it's not a problem.
Yeah.
This is called Going Maverick. Click here to
Let's go.
And for basically everything we're telling you, there's a lot of fine lines, I'm sure. They have little information tabs on each of them that we're not going over.
Props to Joe Abel because he's got this down. He's got a lot of details. It's structured well. It's really well put together. So
we will definitely put the link in the description for more information. You guys are welcome to check that out. So yeah, that covers basically all the scripted content.
If you have any questions, comments, complaints about my my style,
you're being out of focus and bothering me because I don't want to tell anyone. So exactly what he's saying. So we forgot to do this last episode, but we really would appreciate feedback in the comments. Not because it boosts the algorithm, but because what are you doing? My co-host. But because we want to know your thoughts, we want to know any questions that you have. We will start reading questions from the comment section, assuming they're appropriate for the topics that we're discussing. So we want,
assuming they're appropriate at all.
Yeah, Q&A is welcome in the bottom.
Like we're not going to respond to first comment.
Feel free to give us topics to talk about, interesting stuff coming up in the next month that we didn't cover here and that you want us to cover before it goes into next month. I forgot the word 30 frames per second because I'm moving my hands and it's looking awful. And as well, guest speakers. If you guys want to see anybody on the show, potentially. I don't think we're big enough to do anything crazy, but please tell us so that we know what you want and that we can kind of move towards that.
Like and subscribe.
Please
hit that bell. Smash the subscribe button.
Yes, we cannot beg you enough to hit the like button.
If you don't, I will bash out your Windows and I'll delete your Fortnite account.
So we'll make it simple. All we really want you to do, if you like the video, please like, and if you have something to say, please say it. And I said that we were going to talk about social media, so I'm considering beginning a a set apart meta Instagram account. For those of you who want notifications for new videos, some updates, a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. I will start working on that, I think, before the next episode.
You got to get on the gram.
Exactly, and you guys are welcome to leave comments and suggestions on that. It does not exist yet. It will not exist until the next video starts. But until then, just keep that in mind. We plan on beginning a social media account for you guys to follow. And apart from that, that's basically it. That was 46 minutes. Sorry, it was a little bit shorter. So this is a transition episode, as we said. This is we were filming us on the 11th of August, and we're planning on filming a little bit earlier in the month, and then uploading by the end of the first week, I think is what we're shooting for. And of course, we will give you updates on that in the comments if anything changes, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, just to be clear, I'm not going to send you this fedora. I mean, unless I get 1,000 likes on this video, then I'll give you this fedora. Then
if one person creates 1,000 accounts and likes this channel, and subscribes to this channel 1,000 times, you can have that.
I really like this fedora, and I think you like that I have it.
He brought it new for us. It's special.
So I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah. So. Thank you guys so much for bearing with us, and we hope you enjoyed the video.
Namaste.
And we will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Adios.